All right, we moved, as you can tell. So if you've been wondering where I or we have been for over a week now, I mean, I haven't made a video in a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. But we've been moving. It's been chaos.
Yes.
But a great chaos. And maybe soon enough, once this house is completely done, we're pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as it's completely done, might do a little walkthrough, show everyone all of our stuff. You know, the stuff I didn't throw away. But yeah, show them your demon eyes. Those look crazy like that. I told her to take the glasses off, but now you just look like a cute librarian or something like.
I like the demon eyes.
Yeah. Anyways, a classic horror story. We watched it tonight. We're trying to catch up on all the horror that we've missed. A lot seemed to, as soon as we decided to move, It was like, oh, let's release Escape Room Tournament of Champions. Let's release Fear Street 3 and this and fucking American Horror Stories. And it was just kind of like one after the other. I was like, oh, this comes out today. This comes out today. This comes out today. It was out of control. But we did watch Fear Street. We got to talk about that as well. But for right now, Classic Horror Story, which is an Italian film, I guess, from what I could, gather. So half of it was in Italian or more, maybe 3/4 of it. But yeah, it's a classic horror story, right? I feel like with this film, I was saying this to you during, that I was letting certain things in the movie go because of the title. Where I was like, oh yeah, I mean, it says it right in the title. It's a classic horror story. It's kind of setting things up classically. That being said, I don't, even though the film was tropey in parts, I never found the film to be stale or unoriginal. Right?
Yeah.
So even though it's kind of playing off of conventions, I feel like the atmosphere and the tension and the mystery of everything keeps it all going and never makes me feel like it's stagnant and derivative or anything like that, even though it does play off of typical horror conventions.
Yeah, it was definitely an engaging movie. And it reminded me of Cabin in the Woods in some ways because of like the tropes that they played on, and the twists that they do. But yeah, I don't know, the tropes didn't bother me that much, and I guess part of it was because of the title, but I just loved all of it, honestly. I have questions, like you said you had questions too, but yeah. I feel like the ending was really cool. I like where it went, and then like the intro, even though that's I think where most of the tropes were and kind of the typical horror movie stuff, I still liked it.
I think, okay, so plot synopsis for anyone who is curious on that. There is a woman who is dealing with some personal issues, a big decision. I'm not really sure what that all meant or what was happening there. I don't feel like they explore upon that much, but it does give us kind of a snapshot into her, at least mental state at the time, not so much her background, because I don't feel like that's explained, like what exactly happened there. I filled in some of those blanks for myself, and this film definitely requires you to fill in blanks, which is fine. I don't want everything spelled out for me. I'm fine, seeing things or being revealed things and being like, as long as it's not just a straight out a cop out, then that can be annoying and just feels like bad lazy writing or directing. But anyways, we follow this girl, and she is doing a carpool, which I don't know what that's like over where she is in Italy. But this is no typical Uber ride. This is like an RV filled with a bunch of different characters. There's a doctor, a traveling couple, and their driver, who is this like wannabe YouTuber, filmmaker kind of guy, and he's got like a camera in their face, which is slightly unbelievable to a degree. They're playing along with it a little too much. I feel like people would be like, I hired you to pick us up. Can you just drive the fucking car, please, and get the camera out of my face?
The doctor's reaction was that. Exactly.
Sure.
So.
I mean, and that's, I feel like how a lot of people would be.
Yeah.
But maybe, I don't know, Italians are more friendly with cameras in their face. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're driving, and they get in an accident, and when they wake up, things are not what they seem. They definitely have found themselves in a predicament that is hard to explain. And then they're trying to find their way out of that predicament. A classic setup. But I like these kinds of mystery films that make you question logic and reason and whether or not this is, supernatural, or if they're dead, or all the things that your brain's going to start wondering. And a film like this really kind of lives and dies by its reveals. And I do feel like where this film will lose some, or probably half, I'll go with half the fucking audience, is going to be in its third act and its reveal of what all is happening. Because I feel like some people, half, will find it to be kind of a cop-out, cheap. But I think we both agree in the sense of, like, I found there's like multiple endings of this movie, right? So stay through, not all of the credits, but stay until the credits roll, because it just kind of keeps going, has multiple little endings. And I felt like every ending built upon a different layer.
Yeah.
Like, there was a place in the film where it got to where I was like, I would have been happy with this being the ending of the movie. And we both agreed on that. And I was nervous from that moment on that they were going to ruin something with the ending that they tacked on. That's happened in the past, where even a film I watched, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, where I liked the entire film, and then they did a post-credit sequence that was literally 1 second long and basically ruined the entire film for me. I was like, wow, what? Why put that in? Like, I wish I had pressed stop. So I was kind of nervous maybe that they were going to expand upon it and it was going to not pay off. And there was multiple kind of cutoff points where I was like, oh, that's it. And then it came back and I was like, oh, are we going to fuck it up now? And I felt like every one of them built on it and actually showed the point of the movie and really the message that it was going for. And it was tragic and kind of left you feeling sickened in a way with, I don't want to give things away, but with something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely some commentary towards
Yeah.
the audience. But yeah, all the endings were wonderful. I don't think any of them took away from the film at all.
I've seen a lot of negative towards this film, and that's not surprising to me, having now seen the whole thing. While I was watching it about halfway through, I was like, what's not to like? It felt like The Ritual, it felt like The Wicker Man, it felt like it had a lot going. I was just like, this is awesome. Like, I loved the first half of it. I was just like, the atmosphere is great. I like the characters. They're expanding upon them enough that I feel like I care, but not so much that it's dragging down the actual horror that needs to be taking place and maybe focusing a little too much on the drama. You gotta find that balance, and I felt like they were finding that balance pretty well. We got to know the characters well enough to care about why they are, to care about them in these situations and hope that they get out of them. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely twists and there's definitely reveals, and this film isn't just going to end on a what the fuck moment and then go like, well, figure it out. It does try to explain itself, and at first it was jarring. it was like, oh, I don't know. Let me see how this plays out. And I felt like the execution of what they did end up going for worked. And it was kind of a risky, hard thing to pull off. And I felt like they did pull it off for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I definitely enjoyed it and a lot. I actually thought it was pretty great. But I shouldn't say I do understand why, because I think it works, but I'm not surprised that people are hating, because I would only assume it's the latter third. It's the last act that people have the issue with.
Yes.
Where it turns.
Yeah.
I think it's like its most brilliant part, right? All the rest is like good, solid, foundational horror. But then the ending is like this kind of social commentary, and it's very smart and poignant, you know, especially in the end, and tragic, as I had mentioned. And yeah, it kind of got a lot of different emotions out of me. We laughed. There was a joke in the movie that was pretty funny. There was some really sad parts. There was some very creepy, atmospheric horror.
Yeah.
Scary shit. The drama, I feel like, worked pretty well with some of the characters revealing like their backstories and what had happened to them in the past. Even if you didn't like them, you still kind of feel for them. So it had kind of like everything going for it. So yeah, I mean, definitely a big thumbs up for me. 4 for Gore.
2 thumbs up, 4 for Gore.
Speaking of gore, there's not really any gore, and I could see that being an issue for some people, but I don't really give a fuck.
There's some gore in there though, and the gore that they had was, I liked it. I thought it was, I mean, there's a few scenes.
Can it, kitty? We're recording.
More, for sure. But what they did show, I liked a lot, and I thought it was effective. And everything that you said previously, I agree with. It was atmospheric. I love the design of some of the characters that show up. And I like that it reminded me of kind of a lot of different movies. Bean has a lot to say about the movie as well.
Yes. Well, come say it then. What are you doing over there? But yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let us know what you think. I'm curious on the consensus of this one, because I have seen a decent amount of negative towards it. But Alex, who we've actually disagreed with multiple times now on making monsters and other things, he was someone who was like, most people I talked to hated, but I loved it. So, hey, Alex, we're finally in agreement with you. All right. Mark one down. But yeah, I don't really have any complaints about the movie, to be honest. I wouldn't change much. I would like more gore, I guess. But it didn't bother me. It was fine for what it was. I think because of the marketing, it marketed it like it was going to be some super graphic, violent film. The posters and kind of the trailers setting up like the eye gouging, twisting thing and all that. I was like, oh, this shit's going to be gory.
Yeah.
And it's not. But
it's still very creepy.
Absolutely.
Without all of the gore, but...
So,
yeah,
well,
I don't have anything I would change. I like it as it is.
Let us know. We enjoyed it. A whole hell of a lot. So I'll look in the comments to see what the consensus is. But
Bye.